Hey friends, Pastor Michael from Organic Church, here with Sydney Erickson, Don Reed, Beth Jarvis, Nick Offolter, and Pastor Roger Deerdorf. Okay. How has God guided your interests and hobbies? Lots of quiet. So I'm going to start.
Oh, we're on?
Oh, yeah, we're on.
Oh, hey, everybody.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you. We were starting. Yeah, that's it. We're live. Oh, let's do a little banter first. Has anybody had anything fun in their week?
You had a...
I have a praise the Lord, but
okay.
it's yes, I want to share that as part of the conversation. That's going to be the icebreaker.
Do I sound loud to you? I sound loud.
I mean, not super loud. You're not nearly as loud
I'm
as I am.
always loud anyway, but now...
So am I. My microphone is turned back way far because I'm always
good.
thinking loud. Shut up, Roger. Sorry, that wasn't nice, Roger. Be quiet.
That's better. Thank
Right?
you.
That's better, yeah.
My pleasure.
It's very impolite.
I'm sorry.
No, you aren't.
Kind of.
No.
Shouldn't say shut up. It's not nice. We yell at my kids for that. Okay. Icebreakers, just conversation before we get into the real topic. Okay. So I have shared about the neighbor kid in our community, and I want to share another neighbor kid story.
Same kid?
Same kid. So Alyssa our kids have a very structured tablet time. They're only allowed to have their tablets after dinner and until bedtime. So it's usually an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But on occasion, they'll get them during the day if we know we're going to be out late and they can't have it in the evening. Alyssa heard Easton say, and I want to get this right because it was kind of mind-blowing. He said out loud, he wasn't trying to hide it. He wasn't like, he goes, wait, so you're a lesbian?
To who did he say it
Well,
to?
we didn't know. She just heard him say it. And so she yells for him and he comes back and he tells us that he's talking to that kid, that neighborhood kid.
Online?
They're video chatting whatever.
And she's a little bit older than her.
Yes, but she's
right?
12, turning 12 maybe,
Okay.
but very immature for her age.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Alyssa said, hang up. You're not to talk to her anymore. Like that's, we're done. That's inappropriate. It's not appropriate for your age. And we aren't going to have that conversation with our kids right now.
Yeah.
Like he's 7.
Yeah.
We're not about to do this. So she had him hang up with her, told her she wasn't allowed to call, whatever. Then she started texting my wife and said, did Easton get in trouble? Because I didn't say that. And we were in a chat with somebody else and blah, blah, blah. And Alyssa just told her, no, that's not happening. Like, you're not doing that. We're not going to try to explain that. It's inappropriate. He's too young for those things.
We're not going there.
And we realized that she comes to our house a lot with her phone. And she's always like, hey, look at this. And we have no idea what she's showing them. And so... the reason I shared that was to share this. Her aunt later texted Alyssa and said, hey, I am so sorry. I saw what happened. I saw your exchange with her and I saw like part of what, like she couldn't see it because it was audio. They were talking. And then let us know that she had been grounded and took away her social media and whatnot. She said, and that's not something that's acceptable in our house either. So please don't think that it is. And Alyssa told her exactly what I would have told her. We don't blame you for it. Like she's being raised by an aunt and a grandpa.
Yeah.
She doesn't really, her moral compass is very unguided. And so it's hard. And it's hard to be the aunt who has to go to work every day and also have to raise this little girl who isn't hers and try to figure out how to help her navigate life in all of these hard times. And I was just blown away. And I told Alyssa, so when that little girl comes to our house going forward, no phone. And if she has to have it, it stays on the counter in the kitchen, face down. You don't touch it.
When she gets there.
And if it rings, you can pick it up, but otherwise you don't touch it because now I'm questioning what has she been showing my kids.
Right.
And I don't think it's, again, I'm not like, oh, she's a bad kid.
Yeah.
I think her influences are not good. And it's just unfortunate that she's in that place. So for what it's worth, that's my fun week so far.
Yeah, I was right before you started that story. I'm like, maybe we should. The one podcast I listen to kind of says, "Oh, anything crazy happened in your, this past week?" So then it kind of makes you think, like, but because we're together every week and we do like to share stories on and off.
On and off, yeah. We always share good stories before.
Well, I have a really good story we had the kids out at the lake all weekend on the boat.
God bless you.
100 degrees and yeah. It's like living in a tin can on the water.
On the water. Yeah.
But I decided on Saturday I'd take him to go get ice cream. So we drove out to Antrim. I'm telling you what, it is the cutest little ice cream shop out there. So I took him out there. And of course, the outside, it's in an old gas station, just redone. So, they have a section that's outside and a section that's inside. And the inside's air conditioned. That's where Grandma wants to be.
No, outside.
They want to be in, like where the little ports are where you pull the cars in.
Oh, yeah.
They had like 70s furniture and all these old toys, and they were having her and Noah. Rosalind, it's called The Place on 22.
Okay.
It looked super cute.
Yeah, it did look
I
cute.
need to go out there.
It is darling. So they were playing, Rosalind and Noah were playing on this little picnic table. It had a dial phone up, and they're thinking it's a play phone. Like, well, no, that's what Grandma had. But they had like this section that had like, I don't know, like old French doors.
Oh, yeah.
And they had like made a room out of it. So it was all glass and you could see, and there was all these books up in there. Oh, Rosalind loves books. She loves to be read to. So she's in there digging through books and everything. And then Noah's sitting out on the picnic table. Well, this guy come in, him and his wife come in, but he went in to look at the books too. Mm-hmm. And Noah looked at me, and then he looked at Rosalind, and he just went in. He got her, and he brought her by the hand. Yeah. And he sat her down, and he said, when somebody comes in a room like that you don't know, rah-rah, he says, you have to come sit with me. He said, because not everybody is nice.
Yeah.
And I thought, how sweet.
I hate that the world has come to that, though. I hate that.
Yes. Oh, discernment at such a young age.
I know.
I took Easton to Menards one time, and we were in there, and Easton always wants to buy something when he goes somewhere. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. You take him to a lumber yard, and he wants to buy something, just anything. And so we were in line at Menards, and he likes those big Little Debbie brownies, and they're single packs, they're individuals. Yeah. He always wants one of those, and for whatever reason, they didn't have them, and so we were in line, and he was just not melting down, but like now everything he sees he wants. Mm-hmm. And he says, Dad, you should let me get some juicy fruit. And I'm like, you're not buying juicy. First of all, you've never had it. Chances are you don't like it. And I'm not just buying you a pack of gum just to buy you a pack of gum. And the guy in front of me turns around and he grabs a pack of juicy fruit and throws it on the belt, pays for it, and then turns around and hands it to Easton. You would have thought that kid just got $1 million. Pack of juicy fruit, man, just set him over the top. And that guy smiled at me, and he's like, sometimes other people have to spoil him. I'm like, I thanked him, and Easton obviously thanked him, but not everybody is like that. You know what I mean? You never know.
And I mean, that wasn't that man was
being
inappropriate.
Nope.
And it wasn't at all. It's just that Noah
he saw it and felt like it was not a good place, and so fixed it. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got any fun week stories?
I had the day off yesterday.
Well, for you, that's a whole thing. Yeah.
That's the best.
It was unplanned, but it was very well deserved. I needed it.
Good.
Did you take a nap?
I was going to say.
No, I cleaned.
Well, I cleaned the wrong house. You should have came 2 doors down.
Did you at least sleep in a little bit?
No. I was awake early. I cleaned, went to Dad's, took care of him throughout the day. And
did you feel successful?
I did.
See, that's part of it.
And then I relaxed in the pool that evening.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Listen, she probably didn't sleep in because I think we were on the phone by 7 o'clock.
Oh, jeez. Beth will do that to me sometimes. She'll text me and be like, hey, are you awake?
That's exactly what I say to her.
I'm like, dude, it's 6:30 in the morning.
You up?
Yeah.
You up?
And I was going to say, and what's funny is I'm usually calling her because I'm awake. Anybody else? Anything fun? Anything fun? No? Great. Let's start then. How has God guided your hobbies and interests? Now, here's my praise the Lord that I was telling you about that I couldn't share. So Alyssa and I booked an Elvis show. We have a lady that we have, back up. The very first time we ever booked with her, I wanted to punch her in the face.
Who, Alyssa or the lady?
No, the lady. She was somewhere in Columbus, and she was at a retirement home, but it's like a big network of retirement homes. And the place was beautiful. It was wonderful. But it's like 108 degrees outside, and where I was supposed to be was in the shade. And then all of a sudden, I'm not in the shade. Now I'm in the middle of the parking lot. It's like, and I'm talking blistering heat, okay? And she wouldn't engage with us. She wouldn't talk to us. And we require payment up front when we arrive. If you don't pay me, I don't set up because I'm not waiting for you to mail me a check or whatever. That's just how we've always done business. And I'm not willing to change that because we've been stuck before where you get the check and it's not what you agreed to. And then you have really no recourse at that point. So anyhow, just didn't really particularly care for her. And so she called and wanted to book again. And I said to Alyssa, I told you when we left there, I never want to go back. I never care to go back to that place. And we do a show with her twice a year now. Regularly, because once we found our rhythm together, like she knew what I needed. I knew what she needed. We were good. Okay. So she called us and wanted to book a last minute show. Alyssa booked it and she emailed Alyssa and said, hey, make sure he picks his most fabulous 70s jumpsuit. We really want this to be big. Okay. Oh, she's moved to a new place, by the way. And it's like a high rise in downtown Columbus, close to OSU. Oh. And it's assisted living. It's got memory care. It's got several things. It's a beautiful place. And they have like a bar. It's an actual bar inside of the place. And that's kind of where we're at, is in this like, it's not really a bar, obviously, but it's got this like that bar vibe. Area. And they've got like the OSU on the floor. And it's a really cool place. And she said she wanted me to wear my most fabulous 70s jumpsuit. Now, what I know about her is that she loves my peacock jumpsuit. But as we all know, that ain't happening. So I was like just thumbing through my jumpsuits. I'm just trying to figure out, what am I going to wear? What do I want to do? And I could not settle on one. And I kept saying, I just need to make the peacock happen. So I pulled the peacock off the mannequin last night and it fits like a glove, baby. I was so excited. I mean, I ran up the steps in that thing and I went, look, it fits. And Alyssa's just shaking her head. She's like, so strange. So I was excited because now I get to wear my peacock again. So
are you not drinking your sodas?
I have limited myself to 2 a day. I will tell you that's not the case all the time. Like the other day I had 3 or 4, but I do to the best of my ability. I have one with lunch and with dinner. And I usually only have 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and then it's pretty well water or thirst to death the rest of the time. So
perfect.
Yeah. I mean, not drinking anything's probably not much help, but at least I'm not drinking soda.
Sugar.
So, yeah.
Well, Dawn would be impressed to know that I have weaned myself from milk, my bedtime milk.
Oh, geez.
And I'm actually drinking a bottle of the low sugar apple juice.
I thought you were going to say lotion for a second, and I was going to be like, I don't think that's a good idea. I drink a bottle of lotion every night before bed.
Listen,
and my insides are just so smooth.
Yeah, it's silky smooth. Smoother than a baby's bottom. But so just that kind of leads me into my hobby. So I've done Elvis since I was 16 years old. I'm 37 now. So how many years is that? Too many. That's the answer. And I realized not until much later on that is one of the strongest forms of ministry that I have. I get to do a lot of things, come in here every Sunday morning and deliver a message and lead worship and do all of these things here. But so every show that we do, we talk about Elvis and his love for gospel music, and there's a gospel set in the center of every one of our shows. So it's 3 or 4 songs, usually right in the center of the show. And every time when we leave, I mean, people get excited when I do How Great Thou Art or Amazing Grace or any of those like popular Elvis songs. And so one day when we were leaving, I had a lady, she stopped me, and we were like 45 minutes. This lady just wouldn't stop going on about how much it meant to her that we did that. And it was that realization that is probably one of the strongest ministries that I'll ever have. Being able to get to people who don't always have visitors, who don't always get the opportunity to go to church or hear gospel music or any of those things, and still entertain them, but be able to bring a message to them as well. Yeah. So we didn't realize that when we started it, obviously, but it has transformed. It has morphed into a large portion of ministry just as much as it has a hobby and entertainment. So yeah, that one's mine.
Did Elvis do that in his shows?
Elvis, How Great Thou Art was a big thing, late 70s. He always did and he would do Why Me, Lord. He had a handful that he would do on stage.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That kind of sounded like not why me. Like it sounded like why me, not why me, Lord.
Why me, Lord.
Why me?
That's his name. Why me? Why me? Why me, Lord? Oh, hot dog. Down the bunny trail.
I'm sorry. I'm rereading
the question.
Yeah.
Reading a book.
How has God guided your interests
and hobbies? Because I'm like, I don't know if I have hobby. I mean, I have like beekeeping, but all you people don't like bees. So.
Now, that's not true. Bees don't bother me. It's the hornets that I can't handle.
Yeah.
You hit the nest out back with that mower, and you know it. I've still got a hole in the back of my leg that hasn't fully mended the last time I got stung by the hornets.
Yeah.
I had like 3 sticking out of the back of my neck.
Ooh.
It's not a joke. I had to physically pull them out of my neck.
Have you harvested any honey?
Not yet.
This year?
I'm going to try in August, but they survived the winter, and that's
Okay.
the most I haven't made it up to that far any other year, so that's good. So I'm learning.
Because my son-in-law, he just harvested some honey.
Did he? Yeah, I know a lot of people will do it in June or like August or October. If you wait till October, you get like the goldenrod.
Oh. The longer you wait, the
Better
Yeah.
honey you get.
oh.
Yeah, but it depends. Like he probably harvested last year too, right?
I don't know if he did or not.
Maybe. But like last year, I didn't take any because I started that. But
Yeah.
then I didn't take any in the fall because I wanted them to have it
Have
in the
something to
wintertime
eat.
to eat. Yeah. And then they're growing though. So
I would just like to say, though, that while that may not be God guiding that hobby necessarily,
Yeah.
it is an important hobby.
yeah, it is.
Because if it weren't for bees,
Mhm.
there would be so much stuff that we don't have
Mhm.
because they're literally the,
The
pollinators
pollinators.
of pretty
Yes.
much all things.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
And God created them for that.
that's
reason.
what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
it was an
that's
intentional creation.
Yeah.
So
That's
Yeah.
very true.
I don't, so like bees, we don't bother them at our house. Now, I will tell you this, like I kill all the dandelions in my yard. Sorry. I don't like them. But we plant plenty of flowering, pollinate,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
so that they've got something to eat.
Yeah.
But one thing that is not allowed in my yard, chipmunks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into it because I don't want Margie to cry, but I'm at 3 this
Careful.
year.
Be
I'm
careful.
at 3 this year. And my kids get excited about it now too. So just so we're clear, I am like creating a culture of making sure there are not
like
chipmunks.
whack-a-mole or something. What is this?
Are you a BB gun?
No.
He's mean. Broom.
No.
He's got a
shovel.
trap.
Poisoning them.
No. I just split them in half.
A shovel.
No. I have a
I know,
trap.
You try to feed them and then
No,
they
I don't
come
feed
in.
them. I
No?
do not bait the trap.
So
okay.
they just walk in and they're
So
screwed.
the trap is at the front of the house, right on the corner. Because what they'll do is they'll get into the flower bed and they'll try to dig up the stuff that we have planted there.
Yes.
And so if they see somebody, they'll take off running. They stay close to the house. They run around the corner. They get into the trap, gone. And then I just shake them out into a trash bag and ta-da! No more chipmunks.
I'm sorry, honey.
Now listen, the neighbor lady, if we see him across and we try to warn him, I'm like, little buddy, you don't want to come over here.
Right.
Little buddy, you don't want, I'm telling you, you don't want to come over here. Oh, he came over.
I would talk
Sorry.
to the rabbits when we first got
Tell
the
your
dog and
friends.
fenced in the yard.
Tell your friends. Well, listen, we had a rabbit that was getting into our garden, which is another hobby that we've picked up this year, which has been a learning experience for us.
Gardening?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we grew bell peppers, hot peppers, carrots. The carrots did not do well. They came out as like little baby carrots, but they were all like twisted together. We didn't plant them properly, but we didn't know.
But they're usually not ready till fall.
Well, we had to pull them because the what's on the end?
The tops.
The top, whatever it is, was so long that it was taking over the garden, and you couldn't even see any of the other veggies. But we had a bunny that was trying to get in there, and one of the kids found one of our peppers in the yard, and I said, "Don't make me buy bunny traps. Those are bigger. Those you have to squeeze with 2 hands in order to set those bad boys." I'm just kidding. I would never kill a bunny. I would live trap the bunnies because they're cute. Chipmunks are just
And then let Roger handle.
yes, right, yeah. They're just like mini rats.
Send them to church.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Drop them off with Roger. Roger, take them out to the other church.
Yeah.
My wife let an ant out of the house.
Oh,
This
Lord.
An ant.
Picked it up and let it
Lord.
released it.
My dad is doing that right now as well. But I think that's his dimension. I said, Dad, I said, we need to get some ant traps. You've got ants under the couch. I'm like, why under the couch? And he's like,
I feed them.
I've been baiting them myself. He said, and then I carry them across the road and I let them go. I said, well, I think they're coming back.
Is he baiting them with a little bit of crumbs?
She thinks that's her dad's dementia, if that tells you anything about your wife.
Love you, Mark.
No, it's funny to me because you would say the same thing. Like that for her is a hobby. It's a passion. She loves caring for those animals. Wild animals, not wild animals. And again, she should just be on the podcast at this point because we talk about her so much.
Every episode.
We just need to phone her in every episode so she can yell at
You
me.
need to use that phone.
Yeah. So
We need to have like a Margie memo or something
The
like
Margie Minute.
Yes, the Margie Minute. We should at the beginning of every one. And what I'll do is I'll get one of those like little typewriter noises. Welcome to the Margie Minute. And then Nick brings us the update.
You got 30 seconds to defend herself.
Yes. There you go.
She's got to make a comment about it, but she only has 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds and she has 30
Yes, there we go.
All right, Margie, it's settled.
It's settled. Yes. So Margie is now going to get a 30-second audio clip on every podcast.
Look at you, honey.
She made her way into the podcast.
Look at you go.
Oh, goodness. But I just don't have that same passion. You know what I mean? But we all have different things that we do. So,
Was there anything that initiated your interest in that?
Well, I've always loved the outdoors and being outside and animals. Yeah. But like, you could also say like, because everyone's like, well, you hunt, so like you don't love all animals. Well,
they're tasty.
That's
yeah, and
population
it's
control.
life. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Like someone's got to do it. If I don't do it, someone else is going to.
Yep.
But my aunt had started, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago, and it was back in it was actually the summer Chase and I met. Like 2 weeks before that, I went with her for the first time. And I was like, oh, this is very interesting. And she's a great, it's Aunt Chris, the one that's at the library with Michael's kids. But yeah, it's her. And she's a great teacher.
I love her.
I mean, she's phenomenal. And so, she was kind of just teaching me step by step what she was doing. And then before I knew it, I was like, I didn't want to get my own, because it's pricey too. Like I didn't want to get my own for the first couple of years.
Every hobby's pricey.
Yeah. And she was like, don't just like buy, like learn it and then see if you really want to do it and then get into it. So that's kind of how I, was led into that. But
Yeah, especially if the bees fly away.
That happened to you, didn't
that
it?
happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they went to Roger's sons.
Where?
It's right over the hill.
Oh, yeah.
Your son got freebies.
Oh.
Well, he's got 4 hobbies now. So.
Well, that could be. Yeah. Oh, well.
Easton told me a funny bee joke. You want to hear it? What do you call an American bee?
No.
Nope. It's even worse than that. It's a USB.
Oh, man.
I'm glad you didn't water the flowers.
Well, I watered some.
Oh, is it raining?
Yes.
Well, good. We needed it.
We need to rain.
Jeez. It was hot.
Yes.
Hey, Nick needs turned up.
Nick needs
My
turned
ears.
up?
I can't.
Oh, I can't turn him up in your ears. I have to turn everybody up in your ears.
Oh, geez.
What number are you? You're here.
Who, me?
Is that too loud? Is that better? Nick, talk in your
Am I
microphone.
better?
Huh?
Hello? Hello? Huh?
Nick, which number are you? You're number...
Welcome to the Williams home.
All right. Try it now, Nick.
Check.
Oh, yeah, you're loud.
Okay, I can hear him now.
Yeah, you're loud.
I couldn't hear him before.
I do have one small thing that I'm like, I don't know if I should go with it.
Go
but,
ahead.
Oh, no, I'm saying that's how I was thinking.
Mhm.
But recently, like past, 4 days. And it's been on my mind on and off like the past several months. But whenever I got married, you're making all these DIY things. And I'm like, first off, I sold half of the stuff. I'm like, why did I do that? Because I want to start a business.
Yeah.
I'm already renting my peacock chair.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes. So and then I'm going to I'm picking up a flower bar thing tomorrow.
A flower bar thing.
So they do it at like bridal showers and baby showers mainly.
Uh-huh.
So instead of like coming back with like a, how like a gift they give you.
Oh, yeah.
You make a bouquet of flowers. So
That's cute.
Yeah. So I want to rent that couple other things. But the other day I'm like, yeah, but I don't know like what I would name it, and I'm like, well, it kind of all stemmed from, and I was like, I would like to try to, push my Christian agenda on the name somehow.
The agenda.
The
agenda.
Big words.
But I'm like, I don't know how I would do that. And so then I'm thinking like how it all started, which Chase, it kind of started with Chase and I.
Mhm.
Well, we got married on Mount Bethel Road
Mhm.
and then we met at the same place. So
Yeah.
Mount Bethel again. And I went to Bethel Worship Center growing up. So I'm like, I think I'm going to name it Bethel. Like,
that's great.
Party event, something like that.
Yeah.
So
what? So you've got the flower bar, you've got
the chair,
and the grass too. Because is that separate or does that go with the chair? Don't you have the tall grass?
There's no grass.
Oh,
no.
I thought you had the tall grass.
Or wait, like the pampas grass?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I can do the chair or like the combo because the chair comes with a stand too.
Okay.
And technically, I have like a taller stand as well, but I have it in Cooper's room, and I don't really want to.
You don't want to get it out.
Get it out. I thought because I use it for his books.
Sure.
But then I thought about doing like a donut wall, but I feel like the donut walls are kind of going out.
I was going to say, from having an event center, the donut wall is definitely on its way out.
Yeah.
But it's cheap to build.
Yeah.
And you just always have it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It never really goes away.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah.
You don't want to eat the wall specifically?
Not the wall, but
not the wall.
What's on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my sister had like an arch that we've used for all the bridal showers. There's 5 girls and 3 have gotten married. Shy's getting married.
Yeah.
So between the bridal showers and baby showers, we've used it a lot, but it's starting to slow down. And I'm like, hey, like, do you know what you want to do with it? And she's like, no, like $20 and you can buy it. I'm like, really? So now I'll have that. I
have something that I will gift to you.
Okay.
You just have to pick it up. And it may be of absolutely zero use to you. We built for a single wedding, this is not a joke, a cotton candy stand.
Yes.
So I don't know how to describe it, but it's tiered, and you can, if you make cotton candy on the cone, you can stick the cones in there, and then they can just grab cotton candy.
Yeah,
you can have it, but you have to pick it up.
Nope, that's fine.
Okay,
and that's
deal.
It's kind of strange because I don't have a garage at my house, but Chase's garage that he has for the business is huge.
There you go,
and it's 5 minutes away. So
yeah,
I can just
tell you to store it here, but we got so much junk we wouldn't have anywhere to store it.
Donuts, cotton candy. I'm getting hungry.
I was saying, it sounded like a good time, isn't it?
That's
a good time. That's great.
Yeah. Now that I threw it out, now I've got to do it.
Now you got to do it. Now it's out in the universe. It has to happen.
Yes.
Has to happen.
Yep.
Okay, that's good.
Now you're going to have to borrow his cotton candy machine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You have to borrow a cotton candy machine in order to do that.
Well, then I thought about buying like a popcorn machine.
So one thing that I've learned from that.
There is one at the boutique.
Oh, geez.
Is there?
Yeah, but it probably doesn't work. Like the coffee pot I bought at the boutique.
Well, that's your own fault that you didn't plug it in.
True.
No, it plugs in and works fine. You put water in it, water runs out the bottom of it. Yeah, you can't tell that till you put water in it. What's even stranger is it worked at my house just fine. Like when I bought it, I took it home and I put water in it and it heated up. Everything worked fine. I brought it here. Son of a gun, leaks all over the place. Must have only been good for one pot.
That's not that new bun one, is it?
The one in the kitchen, the 2-pot? Yeah, it's that one. The 3-pot, Holly's work donated to us.
Oh, okay.
But the 2-pot that I bought, and we thought it was just a gasket. We replaced the gasket. Still leaks. Don't know. Over it.
What were you going to say about popcorn?
Oh, yeah. Popcorn machine, cotton candy machine, anything that requires them to use, it will always come back to you dirty. Like, so be prepared to just always know you have to clean it up when you get it back. They're never going to clean it. And they really, honestly, you don't want them to because if they don't know what they're doing, they'll ruin it.
Well, my sister mentioned because actually for my wedding, I did a mirror, like a big mirror, full body length, and then just printed out like where everyone will be seated. Yeah. And people are still doing that, but it's more like the half circle or arch. Like it's not the style of my mirror because I still have it. But Shy's like, you should get one of those mirrors. I'm like, no, because I'm not going to offer delivery, so they're going to have to pick it up. I'm like,
it's going to get broken.
And it's going to get broken.
Yep.
So I'm like, no.
And no amount of deposit is going to cover that. It's going to get broken. You're going to be without it, and you have it rented to somebody else, and now you have to replace it quickly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when you almost have to have 2 or 3 at all times.
Yeah. So.
That sounds expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. And those things, my wife hates it when I say this, but when you're doing things like that, you have to spend money to make money. Now, do you have to spend $3,000 on a jumpsuit in order to make $350? No, you don't. You really don't have to.
Is fun.
But sure is fun. It sure is fun.
And $500 for a belt?
Yeah. Hey. Get off my back, Roger. Oh, that is the one thing that I also learned about my hobby. See, if you don't educate yourself and you just buy willy-nilly, you learn the hard way that that wasn't what you should have bought. I was measuring my belts incorrectly. So I was measuring them at my actual, at my pant size. And so I was ordering them 2 sizes too small because they're actually worn higher. And so then when they slide, you have that give in them. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I talked to a specific belt maker, and he's like, dude, you're ordering the wrong size belt. He's like, this is the size that you need. So my peacock belt is super tight. So I'm going to try to sell it and buy a new one. That way it'll fit properly.
So it'll be $800 for that one.
Shut up, Roger. I'm sorry. Be quiet, Roger. You know what? I'm just going to mute his mic. Now it's problem solved.
What happened to Roger?
Get out of here. All right, Don, how about
Roger,
you?
you have been canceled.
Yes, Roger has been canceled.
My life story.
Well, I too like the outdoors. I did not garden this year, though. I just didn't have enough time.
Yeah, like you're not busy enough, right?
And the last few years when I did garden, I kind of had to pray, God, please give me produce, even though I'm not out there. Because I just don't have the time.
Allow the produce to grow amongst the
Please let
weeds,
it
Father
grow.
God.
And it did. I was abundantly blessed.
Good.
So, but I like to kayak. I like
Me too.
to camp.
Yeah.
I like to hike. I like to sky watch. I just like to watch the sunrise, the sunset.
I thought you were going to say skydive.
Oh no!
Oh, that would have been
no,
fun.
I'm not doing that because my parachute probably wouldn't
Yeah.
open.
Same.
No, but
And I guess you could pass out when you skydive too.
Really?
I was told that, like, that's why they make you buddy jump the first 3 or 4 times that you jump, because there's a high possibility of passing out. Like, can you imagine skydiving and just be like, "Ugh."
And then you don't pull your.
You pull the cord, right?
yeah,
You're
So for me,
toast.
it's mostly all things outdoors. I just enjoy doing things outside.
I love hearing that because I am the polar opposite.
Yeah.
The more I can do inside, the better off I am.
Chase is always like, "Have you watched this movie?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, I was too busy playing outside growing up." He's like, "Oh my god,
yeah.
you say that all the time."
Yeah.
I'm like, "I was though. That's the thing."
Well, so we were made to play outside all the time.
Right.
Like, I mean, you didn't have an option. When the street light came on, you were allowed to come in the house.
Yeah.
Beyond that,
Oh,
don't
we had to play underneath the street.
don't come. Well, there were times for that too, but we were allowed to come in when the
Were
street
there
light.
gas lights at that time?
No, that was a caveman holding a torch.
I don't have to take this.
Wait. What was that, Roger? What did you say?
You got me muted.
Now I do. Oh no, I muted the wrong channel. Bummer. Oh goodness.
Jeez, Louise. Man,
I'm sorry, Roger. I am.
No, you're
Usually I stick up for you. But
She got you that time.
door open
She
and I-
did.
Got you that time.
that's usually what happens. I open the door and then I get trampled.
Yeah, they had to burn dinosaur oil back then. Dinosaur fat for.
No, that's how I ended up getting 8 stitches above my eye.
What? You got beat up by a dinosaur? Whew.
playing under the gaslight.
We were playing under the lights. We were playing hide and go seek, and I come
Ooh.
You didn't hide well.
and I slipped in the grass because it was wet. Because you know how dew gets
Mm-hmm.
so, and I fell on a piece of 2-inch flat steel,
Ooh.
Ah.
and that's what happened to my. That's the reason I have a real bad. I can't think very well.
Yes. Okay. All right. That's a good story.
Whatever makes you sleep at night,
Yeah.
Roger.
This has nothing. So we were forced to go outside. So when it snowed and you had a snow day, that didn't mean you got to stay in the house. That meant go outside and build a snowman or go sled riding or.
Time out. Chase is like, everyone's talking about their snow days. Like, what'd you do? Yeah, we went sled riding. He's like, on our snow days, we had to chop firewood. But then his sister was in the house, like, quote unquote, cleaning.
Yeah, sure she was.
Yeah, sure she
was. So my dad would make us go out sled riding, but being in the house was not an option.
Right.
Like we weren't turning on the TV all day. You weren't playing on the computer because at that point, as we got older, we had a computer. And I remember one time, and I don't remember if my dad opted to stay home with us or just happened to be home with us, but we went sled riding one time and we didn't have like runner sleds. We had like truck tire inner tubes.
No, we used old car hoods.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get hurt real bad.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you a good hurt story on the truck tire inner tube. And I mean, they're not big, but they're pretty big. And so if you, Wardell Street, remember the hill that was at Wardell Street that you could sled ride down? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So there was a house across the alley that always had like stuff out behind their house. So you trek up the hill get on the sled and go down the hill and then trek back up. It was the worst experience of my life. I hated it, hated every minute of it, but we did it every time it snowed. So my dad went with us and he's like, all right, I'm going to push you down. So I get in the inner tube, he pushes me down, and sure enough, I hit the back end of the car that is sitting in those people's yard. And my face is buried in the inner tube. So the only thing I could come up with to do, and I hear my dad yelling, bail, bail. And rather than jump off, I just keep on going. Hit the back of that car. The only thing I could think of to do was to squeeze inside of the inner tube.
You were stuck underneath the car.
So I'm under the car, inside of the inner tube, face pressed against the rubber. My dad comes barreling down the hill to pull that thing out. He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I think so. I was fine, but man, that was scary. So yeah, that's the stuff that kids don't get to do anymore. They don't get to do that dumb stuff. Everybody's too sensitive. Might get hurt. Getting hurt was the fun part of being a kid.
You ever run into a clothesline in the dark?
Yeah.
That's an experience we'll never forget.
I ran into an electric fence once.
Oh.
It wasn't very well. It was high enough that I knew I hit it, but we were at a friend's house and we were up in the woods. And my wife gets so embarrassed when I want my kids to come to me. I just yell Brindley really loud, which I learned from my dad. And we were at the water park the other day with my kids, and Alyssa said, Emmett needs to come eat. Will you go get him? And I stand up. She goes, don't do it. And I yell, Brindley, really loud. And he immediately turns around and looks at me and comes a-running. And everybody else also turns around. And one of the ladies looked at me and she laughed. And I said, hey, my sheep know my voice. But we were running. He yelled for us. We were running down out of the hill. I didn't realize, I thought we were just going to come out of the hill into a clearing. I didn't realize it was a cow pasture. And I mean, that thing caught me right across the stomach. And I went over it. And I went back to the car shaking and had no idea what I had done. And then my dad said, what is wrong with you? I said, I don't know. I flipped over something and I'm shaking. He goes, you ran into the electric fence, you idiot. Sure enough, that's exactly what I did. Flipped over the electric fence. So
but
that's what's wrong with me, Roger.
That's why we share a brain.
Yeah.
He's over there getting his coffee. He says, I want to go look at something. And I know exactly what he was.
Yep. He finished my thought before I even said it.
Oh my God.
My wife says we share a brain.
Yeah.
You have the left side and he has the right.
Yeah, when you're running forward top speed and all of a sudden you're going backwards.
Yeah.
Catch it right in the neck.
Yeah.
It's like you got to slit ear to ear.
Yeah, and you're pretty sure your head's
And all of a sudden you're
looking by a piece of
sky like, what in the world?
No, kids today won't ever experience that because there are no clotheslines anymore.
No.
Yeah.
They have to run to a dryer vent.
Goodness.
Okay.
I gotta get coffee.
Oh, Beth, what do you got?
Oh, I don't know what hobbies I enjoy reading. So, over the last few years, my choice of books have kind of changed.
Sure. So you still read Harry Potter and Twilight
I
and
never ever read any of those. If it's gonna make me scared when I go to sleep, because I don't like the dark.
This is ridiculous. We're learning some stuff tonight, folks. We're learning some stuff.
Oh, so I don't know which one am I reading now. The Vessel God Wants Me to Be. So
Okay.
I'm reading that one, and I don't know. Jarvie and I enjoy
The boat. Without grandkids.
Without grandkids. Listen, someday we're going to learn to take that thing out.
Oh, you guys just stay at the dock. Yes. Well, that doesn't seem like a whole lot of fun.
I thought that lady was going to teach you how to.
Listen, I'm going to have her do it one day when Jarvie's not there. I can't have him there while she's teaching me.
Why don't you just get a camper? That seems easier.
Because it's not on the water.
Well, I mean, it could be if you back it up to it, I guess.
Oh, that happened to us one time as a kid.
Oh, boy.
My dad has the farm property that he grew up on, and we always camped down there, and Dad would take the camper down along the creek. And my mom can't swim.
Oh, boy.
She's afraid of the water. And it had been raining all day. My mom's sitting that night with the flashlight.
Oh, geez.
Gary, water's up over those rocks. Carolyn, go to bed. Gary, that water's up over those weeds. Carolyn, go to bed. Hasn't flooded in years. Gary, the water's touching the tires of the camper.
We got to get this thing out of here.
Get out of here. I was in in the 8th grade.
Everybody run.
Flooded. Yeah.
I can't remember. Did you pull the camper out? Or
Oh,
you did
yeah.
get it?
He went up to the barn, got gravel, came back, put the gravel under the
geez.
tires, pulled that sucker out of there.
I have a-
Wasn't going to leave it.
Oh, no, he wasn't going to leave it.
I have a funny
It did
story.
wipe out the bridge too,
Yes.
didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
wiped out the
geez.
bridge.
Dang.
Took houses out.
Wow.
Trailers ended up in the Ohio River.
Wow.
My.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. I was maybe 12, but it was like my mom's boyfriend who she's still with. Anyway, it was his brother, kind of strange ranger, but like I know him, and they had a boat, so we're like, okay, let's get on the boat, and well, the boat breaks down. And I knew at 12 years old, I'm like, he's telling us to push. To push the boat, and we're not. I mean, we're like, I can swim. First off, Shy can't swim, so she's like trying to hang on to me, and I'm trying to quote unquote push this boat.
That's why you're supposed to have oars.
And I'm just like, this is not gonna work. So I'm like, please, someone. And it's getting like, it's not dark, but it's getting dark.
It's twilight.
Like,
It's dusk.
It's dusk.
Please, like, just come find us. Like, finally, someone, like, because everyone was going back in.
Yeah.
Going back into the. I'm like, hello, like. So I finally get the whistle and I start whistling.
Ain't you you're supposed to have one of them little orange flags?
Well,
Jeez.
I got the whistle out and someone came, but I'm like, oh my
jeez.
goodness. Yeah,
Goodness
push the
gracious.
boat. Well, you have no ground to.
Yeah, how am I supposed to push it?
Kick harder.
Stilts.
Yeah, right, stilts. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that was nice.
Well, we can get our boat out.
It's back in?
Bring it back in.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that boat's 40 feet long.
Yeah, that's.
And then, when you get past, you got a boat here and a dock here, and you're supposed to get right there. So you start turning slow, but then you got to kick that motor up to bring,
to
the
bring it
back
around.
end of the
Yeah.
boat up, and then you got to hurry up and pull it back into
Reverse
neutral. And then everybody.
And then Beth falls in the water.
No, not this time. Not on this boat. No, I might though soon, because the one time I'm jumping from one boat to the other, I'm like pushing off on this boat, so he didn't hit this boat, and I got pushed off so far that now he's going to hit this boat. I literally had to jump from our boat onto that boat to push him away.
And then you finally get in the lake, and you're like,
you got like 10 people from the dock that have come down,
Watching.
because when somebody comes in, it's very nice. They do come down and help.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
way, once you get your rear end pulled around straight, they just reach and pull you the rest of the way in.
Yeah.
And they do it for everybody. I mean,
because they know how
but-
it is.
Yeah.
but we're still in the embarrassing state.
That's great.
Newbies.
So it's bad.
That was like the first year I met Chase, and I'm like, well, you have your boater's license. Why can't we go onto the boat? Because his stepdad has a boat, and he's like, you can take it anytime. And Chase is like, I have my boating license, but doesn't mean I want to drive it because it's so hard. Like,
Listen, I could go get a motorcycle license. Doesn't mean I should drive a motorcycle.
exactly.
Oh, when
I
you're
rented
out
a
in the open
pontoon.
water, it's not bad. It's
Right.
just coming in.
Yeah, parking it.
Hey, but we're graduated though.
Yay.
We're not getting a divorce by the time it's parked. And the last time I didn't even say a bad word at him.
Yeah, it's like we're going out to enjoy ourselves, and
And here we are fighting. We're stressed about it. Yeah. You were going to say you rented a
I
pontoon.
rented a pontoon one time for July 4th, the fireworks out of
Oh,
Tappan.
jeez.
Well, we see the fireworks, and by the end of the show, the clouds come rolling in.
Uh-huh.
It's a huge storm. So every boat is racing back to
Yes.
the docks. And it's the first time I really ever drove a pontoon. I mean, my dad would kind of let me
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
behind
sure.
the wheel
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit
Sure,
when I was
yeah.
a kid, but other than that, no
Yeah.
experience. And I just remember it felt like being on the high seas because it was storming so bad, and then waves were going, and everybody's rushing back. And that water is just going down my throat. Like my mouth's open, I can't breathe because there's so much water and rain going in my face. So I can't breathe. So I'm like, and every time I do, the water's going down my throat. And of course, I'm looking to the sides, thinking I'm going to crash into somebody.
You're like a pirate at that point.
Yeah, scary. And the only time you could see was lightning.
Yeah.
So I was like
geez.
praying for lightning, so you could see.
I'm on the water praying for lightning.
Yeah, 'cause that's other than that, it's complete black.
In a big old tin can.
Yeah. And like you said, you get back to the dock and trying to dock it, especially in the wind and everything. It was just like we were just all crashing into the dock and doing the best we could to get, Yeah, it was scary.
Jeez. Oh,
But I just remember that water just constantly going in my face, going down my.
You won't ever do that again, will you?
No.
I'm picturing like those the deep sea fishers where
Yes,
that's
like
what I'm picturing.
like in Deadliest Catch, where the boat's like rocking back and forth, the water
For some reason,
splashing
I'm
up.
thinking about Forrest Gump when they're out
Yes,
there on the shrimp
that's
boat.
exactly right. Exactly. Water splashing up over the side, people sliding around on the deck.
Yeah, I was a Lieutenant Dan saying, "Is that all you got?"
Please, Lord, no more.
I will say though, with our houseboat, that God placed us in the perfect dock because almost everybody on that has a houseboat on that dock are church going people.
Oh, great.
And we can,
Yeah.
Good.
you know, Teresa and the little lady down, we just love sitting talking about different things in the Bible or what they touched on in church that week, and our morning coffee. We're out there chit chatting away.
Gossiping about Jesus.
Yes, we are.
Gossiping about Jesus. I've been trying to convince Alyssa to let me get an RV.
I was going to ask you because you
It is not successful. I have not been successful. Now, I have gotten her on the fence, but I think it's going to be hard to push her over.
now you want me to tell you how to do that?
Yeah. Just buy it and bring it home. I've thought about that.
Well, no. What you do, say, okay, would you like to go on vacation? Okay, if we now
Tried that, didn't work.
We take all the kids. How much is it going to cost?
Tried it, didn't work,
Oh, it
Roger.
didn't work.
Nope.
Oh, hey.
Listen, she did the math. It didn't matter. She was like, even if we buy, no, the math ain't mathin' in her book. Even if we buy an RV, and because what I was telling her is like, we could drive to Florida,
Right.
and the kids could sit in the back and hang out. Because honestly, airfare for all of us to go, for 7 of us to go, is just unreasonable. There's no way we could fly down there. We won't drive in the van because it's too tight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, RV or rent like a 15-passenger van so there's more space. So regardless. And she's like, it doesn't matter what you try to tell me. It's never like that's the math is never going to work out because I want to stay somewhere where I can shower. So I'm still going to want to stay in a hotel.
Well, you can shower.
Nope. No, you can't. I mean, you can, but they're tiny showers and that's not going to happen for her. Like she wants to glamp. If we're going to get, she wants one of those, like a 5th wheel camper that's like the size of a mobile home. That's what she wants.
Well, why don't you just get a diesel pusher?
I don't know what that is.
He don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is. But regardless, she is not in for the RV lifestyle. So, because I was thinking we could travel out west and we could do all these things, and she's like, no.
What if
That
Bethel?
right there is an RV.
right there's an RV,
What
Clark.
if when you weren't using it, you rented it as an Airbnb with me? Bethel.
That's a good idea. That is a good idea.
Alyssa, get with me.
Now, see, we got a business agreement.
I've got the.
We only want to use it twice a year, guaranteed.
Well, here we go.
I'm like, honestly.
You could be making money off of it
And-
instead of.
And I know that
paying
that's
off.
part of her hesitation because
Yeah.
like we would spend money on it and they're not cheap. I mean, honestly, if you get a nice one, it's a mortgage payment. It really is. It's another house. But our neighbor across the street has one. And I think hers probably sleeps 4. So it wouldn't obviously be big enough for us. And we were talking, like we would have to get one that sleeps 8 or 10 in order for it to be, because we don't want to use like the living room or the dining room table folds down typically into a bed.
Yeah.
Because we're up early. We like to have our coffee.
Right.
Well, we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
You have your
With
coffee
someone's-
outside.
If you have, no.
Not in the air conditioning.
Well, okay,
Sit
Roger.
underneath
Did you not hear me say glamping?
Sit
not-
under your awning.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what if we're driving to Florida and we stop somewhere just like overnight, like in a Walmart parking lot or
Right.
whatever to sleep? I mean, I'm not going to put out the awning.
First off, Alyssa's never going to allow that in a Walmart parking lot. You need to be at a state welcome center.
It won't matter to her. That's never going to
She'll be in
happen.
a Target.
Yeah, we'll be in a Target parking lot. Yeah, for sure. It's got a Starbucks inside. We just go inside.
Get up in the morning. And
Yeah, go into Starbucks.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
Yeah,
kids, we'll be back.
We'll camp in the Starbucks parking lot. Yeah, take the RV through the drive-through and tear off the awning as we go through. I did that with a U-Haul once. Don't want to talk about that. Tore up the building, tore up the U-Haul. Cost me all because I didn't put enough gas in it. Okay. So they called me. They're like, hey, you didn't put enough gas in it. We're going to take it and fill it up. It's going to cost you $40 to fill it up. Well, it ended up costing me $1,300. So, I mean,
It would have been cheaper to let them fellows.
yes, it would have. I mean, I destroyed that U-Haul. It looked like somebody had written in Morse code across the top of it. I ripped the flashing off their building. The gutter was off all the way down to the end, man. I wrecked that thing.
Where'd you take it? McDonald's drive-thru?
No, it was their building. So I took it to the gas station without incident.
So when you were bringing it back,
Pumped the gas, took it back, and they have like, so it's the one that has the storage place on the back road by Stutzman's in Philly. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like some self-storage places.
Yes.
So the way that I came around, and then you have to make like a sharp right to get around the side of the building. I didn't navigate the flower bed very well, and I ended up in the flower bed, wrecked the flower bed, blew out all the dirt. I mean, because it was like, I'm just gassing it, just dirt flying out behind us. The guy's yelling, "What are you doing?" Waving his arms. The flashing stripped off. It was traumatic, to say the least. He was like, it sounded like an earthquake in there. I mean, I just wrecked that side of the building. It was wrecked.
Are you on the do not rent?
I was going to say, needless to say, I don't rent U-Hauls from that place anymore.
You see a U-Haul, you get PTSD.
I think your name has probably been
Yeah.
passed on.
Yeah.
He's like, no rent U-Haul.
So, every time I drive by there, I kind of chuckle because I'm like, yep, they got that new gutter because of me. I mean,
welcome.
Destroyed that thing. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to call the cops. And I'm like, because like we were on private property. There wasn't anything he could do. He couldn't I wasn't going to get arrested.
You're like, do it. I'm already a felon.
yeah. At this point, I mean, whatever. I ain't scared.
Have you seen my record?
Yeah. I done been to jail twice, buddy. I don't care. This ain't even jail time. This might be a fine. Maybe. So he's like, dude, you got to pay for it. I'm like, all right, well, how much is it going to cost? He's like, I don't know. I mean, you ripped off the gutter. You tore off all the flashing. You wrecked my flower bed. He's like, it looks like somebody wrote in Morse code on the side of the box truck. He's like, I have a rental on it today that I'm going to have to refund. He's like, it's $1,300. I'm like, all right, I'll write you a check. I mean, the check cleared, but it didn't feel good. and he got my $40 in gas. Son of a gun, I just realized I got ripped off big time on that one. I should have made him reduce the gas price at least. Jeez.
I'm glad your hobby's not driving you home.
Yeah, no kidding, right? No kidding. No kidding. So that was, it's one of my good stories. Dude, I was scared. I was like, what did I just do? After I realized I had done it. Because when I first hit it, I was like, what was that? You see the gutter falling off the building. Terrible. Oh, goodness. Oh,
I can see it just like dominoes are standing up and then it's like, like everything's just falling.
I'm just thankful I didn't hit the building. Can you imagine if I'd have torn the roof off or knocked a wall out? And what's crazy is that guy's office was right on that corner that I hit. So if I'd have drove into it, I'd have been, hey, buddy.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry because he probably got...
Yeah, he'd have been smacked. He wasn't going to call the cops then.
There's worse, someone ran into Dover, Philly.
Oh, yeah.
Months ago. I don't know.
Well, we had a congregant that ran into the Rite Aid building, so we ain't going to put her on blast. But man, is that a funny story. Right into the front of the building, too. She actually tells people she's the reason they have those pillars out in front of the building. Those concrete pillars. I can't tell you who. I'm not going to put them on blast on the podcast.
Yeah.
Put them on blast on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to put them on blast on the podcast.
Like
I'll just
tried to make a drive-through the Y Tavern, not once, but
here. I'll give you a hint. It's Sis. Oops, sorry, Sis. No, Sis really did do that with Jamie's truck. Crazy part, Jamie worked at. It was the one in Philly on that corner that's
closing.
It's going out of business. Mm-hmm. Jamie worked at the. Was it Monroe?
Yes.
Midas, whatever it is, right across the street. And they're like, hey, Jamie, is that your truck in the front of the building? No joke. And he walks out there, and sure enough, his truck is in the front of the Rite Aid building.
I heard her tell that. I think we were at your house. I'm like, that wasn't you. She's like,
yeah, it was. She did. So I don't feel quite as bad because I hit just the corner of the building. She hit the front of the building. Broadside of the barn, baby. All right, Nick, what do you got?
I can't top all this.
Yeah, it's tough.
All of our shenanigans?
Next. Yeah. Well, I guess this is a good time to bring this up. I believe this December we'll be taking the Gettysburg Guide test.
Yay! Yeah. Congratulations.
Not confirmed yet, but
yeah,
that's awesome.
They announced that they're going to give it this year.
That's great.
December 7th. So we've got
That's my
5.5.
anniversary.
Huh?
That's my anniversary.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll remember that now.
I don't think that'll be on the test.
Yeah. Who in your church has an anniversary?
you know, history and back many, many years.
Yeah. Well, but they're talking about the Civil War, not back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. They're not talking about caveman days.
Don't go back that far.
Back into time. Amen.
Back in my day.
Back in the Stone Age.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they haven't confirmed if it'll be for part-time people, full-time people, weekends. So
Yeah.
unless they only do it for full-time.
Yeah.
What will that look like for you? Are you going to...
Well,
Now, there are two parts to that test as a refresher. You have a written part, and you have to pass the written part before you can even do the field part. Is that
now
right?
it is technically a 4-tier,
Holy smokes.
Wow.
test. Like the first part is written,
Okay.
250 questions, all fill in the blank. No
Really?
multiple choice,
multiple choice.
no true or
Dang.
false.
Wow.
You know it or you don't. And then the second part of it is all essays.
What?
So yeah, you got to write essays in hand,
No, thank you.
by hand.
I'm out.
And then if you pass that, you go on to an interview process just to make sure you
You
should
didn't
be
cheat.
around other people.
Make sure you're allowed to drive a U-Haul.
That is another part of it. I mean, they will grade you on your driving.
Sure.
So if you're going around doing your tour and you're going through stop signs or taking off and on.
Hit a monument.
Yeah, you're done.
Run
So,
over a cannon.
You're not writing a check for that.
Yeah, right. Definitely not writing a check for that one. Be a lot more than 1,300.
And then, of course, like I said, in the end, you have to give a tour to the superintendent and to a couple other guides. So, it'll almost be a year-long process
Wow.
by the time you take
Wow.
the written part until the end. So, it's
How quickly do you find out as you do it? So you take the written part.
I think with the written part, if it's December 7th, you should find out by Christmas
Oh, cool.
if you've passed or not.
Nice.
That's a great Christmas gift, isn't it?
Yeah, or
Or
really
not.
ruin your-
Or not. Yeah, or not.
Yeah.
You'll do fine.
I don't
Yeah.
doubt that for a second. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's competitive. They haven't given the test since 2017.
Wow.
So I think it'll be tough.
Yeah.
Because I think there's going to be a lot of people that have wanted to do it
Yep.
for a long
Right.
time.
Yep.
So I think it'll be a bigger class than usual.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be in that top tier of people.
Yeah.
So you could get a really good score.
You could get a 98 and
not move
still,
on.
and still not move
Do
on.
they only qualify so many people every time?
I think it depends on just how many
Mm-hmm.
How many people
Wow.
are
guys are
retiring?
looking for. Now
Yeah.
they know that people who start it, there's going to be a bunch of people that don't finish,
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't make it all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so out of that first class, they may take 100 people knowing that half or more of them wouldn't pass X amount of.
I think they said like if they do like 100, maybe in the end they have maybe 20.
20 at the
people
end.
have made
That's
it.
nuts.
So
Wow.
that's how.
That sounds like nursing school.
Well, and I mean, it's
They've had doctors, lawyers, people in the medical field say this test is harder than the test
Wow.
they took
yeah,
to do
that's crazy.
what's in their profession. So it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
But
You're gonna have to do a lot of studying then.
oh yeah,
That's so cool, though.
Yeah.
but it's cool. Yeah. So it's been a long time coming for me.
In the nicest way possible. It would give me a reason to come to Gettysburg.
Right. Yeah.
Because, like, for me, I
Yeah.
get it, and it's a cool place to go, but I would really have to have somebody like keeping me interested before I would be able to
Well,
make
and
that
that's
trip
one of the
again.
main things that they're always looking for. It doesn't matter how many facts you know.
Yeah.
things
Are you
like that.
engaging?
Are you
Yeah.
engaging? Can you
Yes.
tell a story?
Yes.
Can you
Can you keep them paying attention? Like make
yeah.
it interesting.
are you good with people?
Yeah.
All those things.
Yeah.
So that's all a big part of it. So yeah, it's exciting. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's like I said, we got 5 or 6 months to study for it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is there like a sample test that you can look at?
that is the thing. Like there is no,
There's
they
no
don't
like,
tell you,
no guide.
They just give you like, they give you like 100 books that you should read.
Wow.
So they're like, yeah, these are all,
If you read all of these,
yeah, but they don't give you any idea about what's going to be on the test.
that's crazy.
So it could be anything from the battle itself
Mm-hmm.
to the whole order of battle, the troop movements, who led the troops, all
Wow.
those things.
I have an
Plus
important
you've
question.
got the cemetery, you've got the history of the national park,
Oh.
you have
Yeah.
the whole history of the Civil War in general. So it just doesn't cover that battle. You have to know
Mm-hmm.
a good history of the whole Civil War, plus a history of the park, history of the national cemetery.
Wow.
and you have to know, say, like all the park roads.
Yeah.
Part of it might be a map where you had to fill out every single park road.
Woof.
Oh.
Woof.
So yeah, but we don't know. They're not saying here's what's going to be on the test study for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The final question on that test should be how many blades of grass are on the battlefield? Like, because then everybody's going to at least get one wrong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like any Reddit forums or columns about that.
There's, there's some people that have released like a Gettysburg prep test, but to me, and even right now, they're doing a bunch of seminars in Gettysburg to help people get ready.
That's nice.
And for me, it's like I can't get to Gettysburg the whole summer to take seminars.
Yeah.
So I just look at what the topics are and just think, okay.
Yeah.
They're teaching this seminar for 2 hours. So whatever that's based on, I'll just focus and make sure I study those things. And I've been studying this since I've been 14 years old. So I don't need to do a whole lot of cramming per se, as maybe somebody who's just got interested and now wants to do this.
Refresh. Yeah.
So I just need to make sure I stay sharp.
Yeah.
I think everything that I've learned before, and just keep going through it.
So how many out of the 100 books have you already read?
I own a good portion of them. I was surprised at how many of them I actually own.
That's still crazy.
I just bought a few more this week, just so I'd have them. But yeah, I mean, most of them I've at least went through once, glanced through them. Some of them have the same information, but there's always certain things because the human interest story is another part of it. You have to know about all the citizens of the town at that time, and you have to know their human interest story and how it ties into the battle, the whole civilian.
Wow.
He's making my head hurt.
That's a lot of information.
Yeah. So when you think 250 questions, it could be anything.
Literally anything.
From that. And they're always changing it. And I think everybody has a different, nobody's test is the same.
Oh.
You just get a number.
Yeah.
And
wow.
That's what you get. So you either know it or you don't.
Quick question. Are you allowed to use your phone?
No.
Bummer.
No.
I could ace that bad boy if they let me use my phone.
Yeah.
It might take me 3 days.
Yeah, when you go in, you leave your phone behind.
Ooh. How about your smartwatch?
When you leave for lunch, you have to leave the building. You can't be talking to each other.
Wow.
That's kind of how my dental assisting one was.
So, it's very...
Yeah.
Wear my smartwatch. Hey, Siri.
I'll tell you my age. Nursing school was. You had 2 pencils in your test.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it all does for me, keeping the interest with the hobby, it does go back to how the Civil War ties so much in with religious. There's just a lot of tie-ins with that because as people at that time were very religious, they paid a lot of attention to God. So it was a very strong period for, for religion on it, for most people, I think more so than what it is today. So, and just the fact that so many of the generals, they talk about how God, leads them and what they're doing and how that's all part of, just a lot of this, we're doing all this, but at the end of the day, it's God's will.
And a lot of people don't understand that either.
Yeah.
They didn't realize that those generals, they trusted God and
well, yeah, I mean, they trusted him with their lives because, it was just such a, I can't compare it to today, but if you were a general on the battlefield then, you were just as much in the line of fire as anybody else. So at any given point,
yeah.
I mean, you could be hit by a bullet or an artillery shell or any of those things. So your life was constantly on the line. So I think they leaned more towards God than ever during that time.
Yeah. And
they all talk about it, which is so interesting because when they talk about the battle, they talk about it almost in biblical terms, how it's hell on earth. You know, sometimes, and then there's other times where they really feel like God is at work in what they're doing. So both sides, which is the interesting thing, is they both feel that God is on their side, and that in the end it's going to be whatever His will, whatever His will is. That's how it's going to end. So it's just a lot of interesting stories about that. And so that's always drawn me to those people, I suppose, because they do talk about it so much more than maybe other parts of history.
So I know a lot of the times you say like your passion for like the Civil War and whenever you came to the Lord, was it kind of around the same time or did one come before the other?
Well, I was always I was raised a little bit in church. My
Right.
mom was just very, she never missed saying our prayers at night. So it was instilled in me from an early age.
Okay.
But I really think that when my mom got sick, then it was kind of up to me.
Yeah.
All of a
To
sudden
lean on
to,
it. Continue
to
that.
keep that going. And I just think falling into that, it was there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking up to these generals, these people, and they're speaking so much about God. So it constantly instilled in me that idea
Right.
that no matter what you're doing,
Yeah.
and in the end, it is God's will. It is, life is going to be whatever He's set for you.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that just always reinforced those things for
Right.
me. So my hobby at least had religious
Had
connotations
the
in it that I could
backbones.
follow.
That's nice.
So yeah, so that's what I've always liked about it.
Yeah. Good deal.
So yeah,
Caveman's turn.
What?
He can't hear me. His microphone, his headphones aren't loud enough.
Oh,
Roger doesn't have any hobbies except for working at the church.
Yeah.
Always got time for it.
Yeah, his hobby is a religious experience.
Yes.
my hobby is doing whatever Michael tells me to do.
His hobby's catching groundhogs.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy that.
You're a professional at groundhog catching. Although we have one elusive one you haven't caught yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, I haven't seen him, so I don't know if we really have one. Or not. I think you're just making me do something that I don't want to do.
I was out there digging holes just to watch you set the trap. I was like, I'm gonna dig 10 holes out here and just tell Roger I think we got a groundhog. You should have seen me. I was out there just pushing the dirt between my legs, just looked like a dog digging a hole.
You did a nice job.
I know, thanks.
No, I enjoy I enjoy God's word or God's world. I always think about the first fruit, when you're picking berries, the very first one,
Yeah.
is always the sweetest.
Yep.
And I just enjoy being outside.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's why I make him mow.
yeah. But sitting out, we started a what do we want to call it?
It's not a gun group, but
Yeah, it's a gun. It's
Rain.
yeah, the shooting,
Yeah.
just like
I mean, and it was enjoyable,
yeah.
But then it got to the place where nobody wanted to show up.
Yeah, I get it.
And
Nick didn't come because he couldn't bring his musket.
Yeah, running out of powder.
I've got some. I just built a flintlock.
Believe it or not, I've never shot a musket. I would love to.
Really?
do that. Yeah.
Well,
I'll bring it Sunday and we'll shoot it.
that sounds like a bad idea.
Well, I won't put a shell in it. I'll just put powder in it.
Okay. All right.
I'm serious.
Preferably not pointed at me.
No, we'll point it at the trash can.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Why don't you bring one, but just go out that way?
Why don't you bring one and try to shoot the groundhog with it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Margie. Look, Nick's shaking his
Ruin my
head.
opportunity.
He's like, listen, now Margie's not going to let me shoot the gun.
But no, God put that stuff on earth for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Same way with a bow and arrow.
Yep.
He give the caveman,
Your friend.
my friends, my neighbors.
I think Roger invented the wheel. I don't know.
Yeah, but it didn't work very well because it had square corners.
Yeah, it was real sharp corners.
Yeah.
Didn't roll real well.
No.
Well, you had to invent the shoestring first.
Yeah. In order to get it round, he had to have the shoestring.
Best looking at you like, what's he need a shoestring for?
Yeah.
That's to blow up a tire.
You didn't. You haven't heard that?
I heard this story,
Okay.
but I can't remember.
I feel like we should do this again, but like video it and put it on Facebook.
We couldn't. No, because I was laughing so hard one time I was crying. He took a shoestring. It was actually an old piece of rope that was just dry rotted to high heaven, and he stretched it around the lawnmower tire, and he was pulling it tight while I was out there with the bike pump, pumping this bad boy up. And finally, it caught, and we inflated that tire with a bike pump. No joke.
Oh my goodness.
And
It still got air in it.
still got air in it.
Yep. Still working.
Yeah. Well, that comes with knowledge.
It does. It's experience. And honestly, we joke about a lot of things, but you have done and seen more things than I have in my life, obviously. And when I say to him, hey, how can he comes up with 10 ways that we can do exactly what I want. He said to me today, we were in the gym and we were working on some of the stage sound equipment stuff. And he's like,
me crawl underneath the stage.
I didn't make him. He chose to. I was going first. And he's like, just get out of there. He said, one of the things he said to me, he's like, well, I know that you really wanted those under the stage so we can make it happen. And he came up with 3 ways that we can take 1.5 inches off. We can take 3 inches off of here, whatever. But he was able to figure that out. Most people would just say, oh, we can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's not how he is. So,
yeah.
Well, it's your gift because you could think of 10 ways to do something. In those situations, I'm thinking about 10 ways
to get out of it.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
So
I feel like that's a guy gift.
Well, finding ways to get out of it.
Yeah.
I have a guy at work. He spends more time finding ways to get out of work.
Right. Like you could have already had it
if
done.
he would have just done the job. Today, I newly hired a customer service director. So she's overseeing customer service for all of our properties. Guest experience coordinator is what I call her. And she's fantastic.
Fancy name.
I know, right? She's fantastic. I absolutely love her. However, she is built a lot like me as far as the drive to just, I need this finished. I don't want it on my desk anymore. I don't want to look at it. I need it done. And so we're opening a new corporate office space. It's 5 offices, all of which are very small, and then a common space where we'll have a conference room table and some soft seating, and then a communal desk for other people who are just like transient, who need to stop in and work. And the maintenance team has been in there for better part of 2 weeks. So it took them almost 3 weeks to build this little tiny wall and to get the drywall work done. And I'm like, you're stressing me out. And they left their ladders and their buckets of paint and all of these things were just left there. So today,
you threw them in the trash.
No, that's where we were going to end up. Today, one of the maintenance guys showed up with one of the trucks and he backed it in. And I don't remember what he said to me. I said, here, you do me a favor. You carry all of this stuff down to the maintenance room, which is down 2 flights of stairs. I said, you take all of that stuff down and Courtney and I will load all of the furniture that needs to be removed into the back of the pickup. We load it all into the pickup and then we leave with the pickup and we drop it all off and we pick up the stuff we needed and we brought it all back. And we did that twice in the time it took them to get their stuff done. And they're like, well, we were going to do that. I'm like, in what century?
Yeah.
And it's not like they're just wired differently. Do you know what I mean? Like we knew we needed to sweep, we needed to mop in order to start moving stuff in. And we had all of this stuff ready to move. It's just so funny when you find somebody like that, then you're in a world of trouble because now you've got 2 of us constantly pushing to get to the next phase. But yeah. So Roger gets that end of me quite a bit where I'm constantly pushing, like, when can we get this done? How can we get this on the schedule? And so, yeah, he's going to go home tonight and do math.
Yeah.
Figure out all of the lumber.
Do some gazentas.
His gazentas.
So
nobody gets that.
No.
That's a ABC joke.
Yeah.
we have a lot of lumber and math that we just did for our fence because we currently, the one side is our neighbors, the other side is our neighbors, but then this side is like a chain link fence that Chase put up like when he first moved, just like for the dogs and whatnot. But I'm like, I'd like to have a wood one there, so we're like, yeah, let's do it. Have a bunch of these Menards rebates, but the way that the posts are, like, they're not 6 feet apart.
Oh.
So now Chase is like, well, I think the best bet to do it would be like get the individual pieces and then nail them. Plus I never noticed it, but apparently our yard kind of dips at one point. So he's like, if I did the individual pieces, I could cut them to where it's still even on top. And I'm like, man, I thought we were just going to grab 4 panels of fencing. Boom, boom, boom.
It don't work that way.
Not
No.
work that way.
Chain link up?
What's that?
Are you taking the chain link down?
Down, yeah. But those posts are, because I'm like, well, we could take, but then they're, they're expensive.
Yeah.
And we did the math and it would be cheaper, but it'll be more.
It's a lot more labor,
Yeah.
right? And if you're good with spending the time working on it, it's fine. Alyssa and I priced a fence at one point, and it's just not in the cards right now, and we just put windows in. But we're just hoping the neighbors put up a fence, and then we'll just finish off of that.
Yeah, we did that too, so I planted trees instead.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're green arborvitae, so eventually,
But
they're already 4 foot, so
Yeah.
eventually they'll be 6 foot.
But the trees won't keep my dog in.
Right, yeah.
So-
It's more of a
Privacy.
But if
Yeah.
you used your collar,
Oh, he doesn't typically leave the yard anyway, but our hope is to be able to just open the door and let him out.
I do. I got 4 of them.
Yeah.
I just open the door and they go.
Yeah, but then you can't get them back in.
Oh, all I got to do is call them.
Except
either that or shake the tree.
Except for one. Which one is it? Is it Ducky that doesn't like to come back home?
Ducky.
Well, yeah, he'll come back
Eventually.
whenever he's ready.
Right. Like Linda's late getting to church because the dog won't come in.
Won't come back in.
Yeah.
Well, he knows he don't want to be stuck in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else fun that we can look? This is honestly, I'm telling you, I don't know if I speak things into existence or if Courtney is just crazy and just figures stuff out super quick. She just sent me a picture. I just said to Courtney and Beth that we should get a shopping cart to put in the lobby so we can put our canned goods and stuff in for the food pantry. She sends me a picture on the side of the road, a shopping cart, and she said up for grabs.
Does that save
And
a
you
lot?
were just talking crap about her taking stuff.
It is a save a lot cart.
That's funny.
She did not take it.
I don't know.
She should.
Well, if it's just
It's not in front of Save a Lot by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it is down the road at least.
When I managed it, we would find shopping carts
Really?
blocks away, and we'd have to hire somebody to go gather them up.
Go gather up all your shopping
Yeah,
carts.
because people just take
push
them and
to the
take them home,
apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they don't
Yeah.
bring them back.
Well,
They don't want to carry their groceries.
yeah, I'm trying to secure that one. If you work at Save a Lot or know anybody at Save a Lot, no, we do not have your shopping cart.
My mother-in-law did, but she quit like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, good.
To watch my child. I didn't tell her to. She's like,
Are you going back to work?
July 9th.
July 9th.
Yes.
How are you going to handle that?
I don't know. My grandma was like, how are you ever going to handle that? I'm like, I don't know.
I just said to your grandma, I was there visiting
Yeah.
her and your grandpa the other day, and I said that you and Chase always just really surprise me with how well you handle life. And one of the things that I said was, like, you sat with your grandpa for how long?
That day, 10 to 4. Today, 9 to 2.
9 to 2. Okay, so several hours. Did you take the baby with you today?
Today, I did.
But you didn't the last time.
Correct.
He was with Chase?
He was with his mother. Well,
Chase's
Yeah. Yep.
mom. Okay. So his grandma.
Yeah.
So like there are so many people that I know that still like there's no way they could do that. Like they have to be with the baby all the time or
Yeah.
whatever. So that's always impressed me. And I think back to gender reveal. I even think back to when you guys found out you were pregnant. Like
yeah.
you told me because you needed my help, but nobody else knew.
No one else knew.
Gender reveal was private. Like you guys, it was just the two of you together. You did that. When you had the baby, you didn't tell anybody.
Mm-mm.
There were no calls made. So it was just, it's very like for you guys, family is very, it's important. And that's always fascinated me.
Thank you.
There are so many people who have to have everything on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want everybody to see it. They want a big party. They want, all of the things. And you guys are just like, no, we're good.
And don't get me wrong, I like posting stuff, but
Sure.
when it's something important that I know I want to grasp and keep a hold of, I don't want that to like, almost like looking at it as like, well, how many likes am I going to get?
It's a photo opportunity.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
I don't ever want to look and think of it that way.
Yeah, and when you guys did all of those things, you still, because you don't want to live through the lens of the camera when
Right,
you're having
yeah.
that experience, like I remember the gender reveal. You
Yeah.
guys set up the camera and you hit record and you did it together.
Yeah.
And I remember Chase's face in that video too, because he was so excited that it was a boy. Like he was like almost fist pumped. He didn't quite, but it was close. But it's so impressive to me because there are other people who are just everything that happens is like every 3 days.
When I
there's
see people at a concert and the whole time they got their phone.
Yes.
Like you didn't even experience.
Yes.
Yes,
No,
exactly.
nope.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons that I don't like to go to the zoo because my mom is a big nature photographer. She loves taking her camera. For me, that's not fun. I don't want to stand in front of the tigers for 45 minutes
Right.
while you snap pictures. And I get that she loves that and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not enjoyable for me, so I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like
And I see that happen all the time where it's like, oh, act like you love each other and
Yeah.
take the picture.
Yeah.
And then you're just like,
miserable.
yeah.
Miserable the
And
whole
then you
freaking
see
time.
They're trying to post it,
Yep.
acting like they're having the time of
Yep.
their lives. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So that's just
Yeah.
side note, had nothing to do with this, but just it got prompted.
Well, I knew from the get before we even had Cooper, I'm like, I want to try to still have us time,
Yeah.
like go somewhere once a week, like
Yep.
whether we go get ice cream, just the two of us, or go to Menards and get lumber, something, and I've tried to hold on to that and, not get anxiety about being away from
Yep.
Cooper. Like, yes, I miss him, but I didn't want to start to form that anxiousness if I didn't need to
where
have
you don't
that.
know if you can sleep at
Yeah.
night if he's staying
Yeah.
somewhere else. I mean, you've even traveled with him. You took him on a hike the other
I
day.
did,
Like
yeah.
it's a lot of like it's not just sitting at home holding the
Yeah.
baby. So yeah, that's good stuff. And I think those, when you instill those things in your kids, even from a newborn, like they're going to remember that their entire lives.
yeah.
They're going to, while he may not remember going on that hike,
Right.
that love of nature will be naturally be part of who he is and how he grows up. So
Let's hope.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything fun, good, interesting? Yes, no, maybe. No. Dawn, you need to pray tonight.
Dear precious Heavenly Father, we come to you, dear Lord, to thank you for this day, Lord. To thank you that we all have our own interests and that they can be guided by you. And Lord God, I just ask and pray that you take all of us home safely and bring us back at our next appointed time. And Lord God, I just pray for Pastor Holly and her service this evening, Lord. And Lord, just, I just am so grateful for the beauty that you bestow upon us, Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
All these things we ask and pray in your Son's most precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Hey friends, Pastor Michael again. If you've enjoyed this podcast, you should consider joining us on Sunday mornings. Our address is 1943 North Water Street Extension in Yorksville. We'd love to have you join us for an in-person service.